Hey, Matt back from Loot Signal, and today I want to talk about Ys VIII, Lacrimosa of Dana. I've been playing this game for about a week. I've been really enjoying it, so I wanted to come on, do a little review, talk about my first thoughts, talk about what I like about the game, what I don't like about the game, and whether or not I think you should pick this up. Now, I've been playing it on the Switch, on my Switch 2, and as I said, I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I want to talk about it and let you know, my thoughts. So let's start out a bit with the story, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but the game starts out, you're on a ship, your ship goes down, and you wash up on an island. Now, you come to find out that all the ships that travel near this island go down. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows much about this island, but you wash up ashore as a castaway, and you need to uncover the mysteries of this island. So that's the premise of the game. The story starts out pretty simple, it's not that deep, but as you progress, the story will get a lot deeper. There are a lot of mysteries, there are a lot of plot twists, and overall, I think it's really good and it really picks up as you get deeper into the game. Initially, I thought the story was a little shallow, and I thought the beginning of the game was a little slow, but it does really pick up and get better pretty quickly. Now, when you wash up on this island, you're going to be setting up a base camp, and the base camp is going to act as your hub, your central hub throughout the game that you will be coming back to. And as you're exploring this island, you will be improving and upgrading your base camp. Now, what's pretty cool here is that Ys VIII gave me a lot of Sweet Suikoden vibes in the sense of how you're building up your camp. So if you've ever played Sweet Suikoden on the PS1 or the Sweet Suikoden re-release on the Switch or the PS5, then you'll know what I'm talking about here. So in Sweet Suikoden, you recruit members, you bring them to your castle or your base or your camp, and then they provide a unique ability or skill that you can use as you progress throughout the game. And in Ys VIII, your camp works a lot in the same way, except the way you recruit people is by finding them on the island as fellow castaways. So you're not the only one that washed up on this island. And as you're exploring, you're going to be meeting new people, meeting new characters, and then you can recruit them, bring them into your camp. And as I mentioned, they will provide some special abilities or some unlock some new aspects of the game. So, to give you an example, you might find a castaway who happens to be a blacksmith. You can then bring them into your camp, they'll set up their little shop, and then you can go to them to buy weapons or upgrade your weapons, as an example. And you'll be meeting all sorts of characters who will be bringing all sorts of abilities. And the game's very deep in this sense, in that there are a lot of mechanics, there are a lot of other castaways, people you can find and recruit, and they will be unlocking some pretty cool skills, some pretty cool abilities, shops, etc. in the game. So that's something I really liked, and I was a bit surprised to see that mechanic similar to Suikoden in this game. And this is the first Ys game I've played, so I really didn't know much about it. I still don't know much about the series, and maybe that's something obvious. Maybe that's something that's in other games. I don't know. But I did really like that because I really do like that mechanic in Suikoden as well. Now, your hub or your camp in this game, as I mentioned, will act as your hub. You can fast travel back to it at any time. And as you're going out and exploring the island, you will be setting up, what are quote unquote mini camps. And that's how you'll be fast traveling throughout this world, throughout the island. As you set up new mini camps, you can travel between them. But what makes this game also interesting is that it's really focused on exploration. And I mean really focused. So it's not like Zelda where you climb up a tower and you'll unlock a huge piece of the map. In this game, you need to traverse everywhere by foot to unlock the map. So there's no shortcuts, there's no fast way around it. If you want to unlock a piece of the map, you really got to travel there, walk around, explore, unlock the map, all the borders, all the areas, all the nooks and crannies. So it's a very heavily exploration focused game, but it really combines and completes with the action combat. So this is an action RPG. There are a lot of enemies. There is a lot of deep combat here. And the combat is one area where this game really thrives. Now, another thing interesting that this game does in regards to the combat is that you travel as a party. You only play as one character at a time, but you can cycle through your characters at any time. And each one of your characters will have pros and cons against different types of enemies. So, for example, you might have one character that's really strong against flying enemies, and another character that's really strong against shielded enemies. And as you're coming up against these enemies, you'll want to cycle to the appropriate character that has the advantage against that enemy, and take them out quickly. So it's not like other games where you might just change weapons and use a different weapon on a different enemy. The way you do that in this game is to cycle and actually change your character. So that's something else that's pretty unique. I don't think I've really seen that in many other games, but it's something I've enjoyed because it's a bit fresh, something new. So again, something that's pretty cool in this game. And let me tell you that this game does have a lot of enemies, tons of variety. As you're exploring the island, unlocking new areas, you will be seeing a lot of new enemies. So you don't need to worry about the enemies or the combat getting stale. You're constantly uncovering new enemies, upgrading weapons, upgrading skills, unlocking new skills, getting new weapons, getting new armor, getting new accessories, getting new items. There's tons to do here, tons of items to find. You know, you can chop down plants, collect the herbs, you can uncover, or you can do some mining, rocks, you can do fishing. So there's just so many ways to get items, and you'll use these items to trade, to buy things, to build things, etc. So a lot of deep mechanics in the world here. The world doesn't feel barren, it feels very full, which is exactly what you want in an exploration focused game like this. So that's something I really liked. Now, I do also want to touch on the bosses in the game. There are some really cool bosses, some pretty difficult ones as well. But I really like the enemy designs, the boss designs. They're very fun. I think you'll have a lot of fun fighting these bosses. The action combat's very fast paced, and that's something I like about the game. It feels good, and I think you're really going to enjoy that aspect. Now, there is kind of a little Metrovania vibe to this game as well, in the sense of, you know, you'll come up to an area and it will be blocked, and you'll need to progress in the game before you can come back and get into that area. And that might be, you know, going into a cave. It's too dark. You need a light before you can get through the cave, or you'll come up to a path that's blocked, and you'll need to recruit more team members so you can move that rock, etc. So it's got some Suikoden vibes, some Metrovania vibes, but let's be real, those are the right vibes to have in a game. Now, I do want to talk about an area of the game that I don't like so much, and I think that's going to be specific to the Switch release here, which is that the graphics are not so great. They definitely don't feel polished. There's times where I'll see some lag, I'll see enemies lagging or glitching in the distance, and I think that's the biggest area where the game's lacking, at least on the Switch. I will say that I'm only playing the game in handheld mode, so I don't know how it is on the dock, but I mean, to have this game portably, I think it's a fair trade-off. I wasn't expecting a graphical masterpiece here, but that's something you will want to be aware of if you're picking up the Switch version of the game. But with that said, if you do want the best graphical experience, you can always pick this up on the PS5 or other consoles. And I will say that I think there's a great opportunity here for a Switch 2 update for this game. I am playing it on the Switch 2. They haven't released any Switch 2 upgrade or patch, but I think there's a big opportunity there. And if they did that, this would definitely be a must buy, must pick up. Now, another area where the game really shines is the music. I have to mention that. The soundtrack to this game's been great so far, starting off from the menu theme. Definitely recommend you to listen, check out the music in this game, because I was totally shocked. As I mentioned, I've never played a Ys game before, so I wasn't expecting much in regards to the music, but it does have great music. So that's it. I talked a bit about the story, the combat, the music, what I like about the game. And I just want to wrap up my thoughts and say that the thing that I really like about this is that it's a low stress, fun game. It doesn't feel like a chore. It's a game you can jump into, play for a couple hours, jump out of, and come back in a day or two. You don't feel like you missed anything. You don't feel like you forget the story or anything like that. Like you just pick it up, jump back in the world, and keep exploring. And it's really fun. The combat's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. So I definitely recommend this. Recommend that you pick this up if you get a chance, if you see it for a good price. And overall, I just want to say I really like the game. So if you've played this game, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like or didn't like about the game. And if you enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Have a good day.